Alrighty folks, so on the table here, we've got a set of headers and we have a catback system. Now, in the first part of this video, I want to talk about the differences between these setups and how they're going to interact with your warranty. First, let's talk catback. When you do a catback modification to any vehicle, 99.9% of the time, you're going to be in good shape regarding your warranty. And here is why. This being catback is not going to affect anything regarding your emissions or anything of those particulars, which are very important when you start to get into the conversation of warranty. This happens to be our rear section double X pipe for the Lamborghini Revuelto. There's a very interesting piece of the puzzle when you talk about a catback like this. Factory Lamborghini Revueltos have exhaust valves. When you buy this setup for your Revuelto, whether you buy it just the rear or the full system, it comes with valve delete modules. Now, some of our systems are going to come with modules. Some people like to source their own modules, but what's really important is the following. When you do a catback modification and maybe you're adding like an F1 style rear section to your car that doesn't have valves, you're going to want to have the valve sims, because if you were to ever bring the car to the dealer and it has the exhaust, it wouldn't throw a light because the valve sim modules are turning the light off. If a dealer wants to put pressure on you to say, oh, we're going to void your warranty, you can kind of push back on them and say, well, this is not changing any real dynamics or parameters of the vehicle. It's just a sound modification and there's no check engine lights. That's a very important vertical. With all these things in terms of protecting you as the consumer, because at the end of the day, this video was made by the Valvetronic team, made by us, for you as the consumer. When you do a modification, whether it's a full system, a catback system, you have to know that there is protections working for you. There's a big court case, and it was called the Magnuson-Moss case back in the mid-70s, and I'll spare you the specifics. You're welcome to research on your own. But what it talks about is modifications of vehicles that were voiding manufacturers' warranties just because people had, actually it was a Chrysler thing, they were voiding people's warranties for just having aftermarket wiper blades, which seems completely outrageous today. But remember, as the consumer, you are protected by this act because it is illegal for the manufacturer to void your warranty based on an aftermarket component, unless that the manufacturer can prove that that aftermarket modification you did to your vehicle caused whatever failure you're bringing the vehicle in for. So here's a little bit of story time. You guys may have seen our McLaren 720S videos that we put out a little while ago. That black car, the convertible, was my car. And it had our full setup and it sounded absolutely wicked. Here's a clip of that. It sounded absolutely insane, but I had door actuator problems and I had a coolant issue with the car. So with those issues that occurred, I had to really put a lot of pressure on McLaren to fix the issues because they had nothing to do with the exhaust system. Fortunately, those things were fixed under my CPO warranty. That type of scenario, I had to put a lot of pressure on my dealer to say, hey, this is completely ridiculous. I bought a CPO car, a car that had a manufacturer's warranty. You guys can't deny a warranty claim because I happen to have an exhaust system on the vehicle. That is a complete violation of your rights as an enthusiast and as an owner of these vehicles. Make sure that you're putting the pressure on these dealers because that is totally not fair. The next really important thing to talk about is all about personality. When you go into your dealer, and let's say I take my 992 GT3 RS and I go to some random Porsche dealer and I say, hey, I've got all these modifications and my engine blew. They're probably not going to be very advised to help you because you're just a random person on the street. And this is where we get into the more interesting dynamics of how the automotive world works. It is important to have a good relationship with your service manager or service advisor at your dealership because they are your advocates. They'll be the ones who you can say, hey, I do have a catback exhaust system on the vehicle, but I've been a very loyal customer. I bring the vehicle here for service. You guys have serviced the vehicle for a long time, and it's clear that I'm here for service, not a warranty concern. So I need to make sure that my warranty is not going to get voided. You open the conversation like that, any reasonable individual will say, that makes sense. It's a catback exhaust. You're in here for an oil change, and we're going to do a checkup of the vehicle to make sure everything is in great shape. All right, so we've talked about catbacks and the different configurations. We've talked about valve sim, we've talked about Magnuson-Moss, and we've talked about the importance of knowing your service advisor. Now, the next big thing is the following, and here is where a manufacturer can void your warranty. It's if you put software on the car. Changing the parameters of how the vehicle operates, whether it's engine software or transmission software, whatever, that is going to put you right in the crosshairs for losing your warranty. The manufacturers, they have a lot of resources to see if you have changed software on the vehicles. Now, how does this affect you? It depends on your propensity for modifying the cars. Personally, for me, my 992 GT3 and all my cars, they all run full exhaust systems, and I don't really tune the cars because I've had these relationships with my dealer, and if I ever have a problem, I bring the car to the dealer and they take care of it, which is nice. And quite frankly, I have a Mazda Miata, which is so slow that I'm not looking for extra power. I love the sound, the excitement, the driving engagement, but for me, power is not so important. Everybody is enticed to choose whatever is most important for you. We see a lot of Aventadors, we see a lot of Porsches, we see a lot of Ferraris, they get modified immediately with full exhaust and they do a tune. The owners are aware that, hey, I'm probably gonna lose my warranty, but these new cars are so good in terms of powertrains, popping motors and having real challenges like that. It might spread real fast on the internet, but these manufacturers wouldn't be in business unless their cars worked. So for all the things that we've spoken about, what's my recommendation and the Valvetronic team recommendation for you? You purchased this vehicle, Porsche, Ferrari, BMW, McLaren, Mercedes, and you bought a Valvetronic exhaust because you want the ultimate experience. Or you bought the car and you're looking for an exhaust system and you've come to this video before you buy because you want to know, is it going to be a sacrifice? Am I going to lose a lot? Am I going to never be able to sell the car? There's a lot of important particulars to realize when it comes to modifying the vehicle. We invite you to consider this. You bought that car because it's your dream car, it's the perfect car for you, whatever the vertical is, but at Valvetronic, we exist to deliver enthusiasts like you the ultimate experience. So what's our recommendation? Keeping your mods reversible. Any Valvetronic exhaust you purchase is completely reversible. You're able to put the factory exhaust back on at any time. You have an issue, you have a real challenging warranty situation, put the stock exhaust back on the car and then bring the car to the dealer. That's a lot of times where you can protect yourself, is if you're in a situation like that, put the stock exhaust back on the car and give it back to the dealer. But it's also important to know that when you talk about certain race systems, you might need to add software to eliminate the check engine light for valves and other particulars with that exhaust system. And also certain dealerships might be more mod friendly than others. It's definitely the case. Everybody's different for their personalities and every management of dealers is different. Some dealers are totally against mods and they will really push back on you, which I really don't understand why. We mod these cars because we love them. Then other dealers, they sell Valvetronic products to brand new owners of these cars so that they can deliver the ultimate experience right from when that person picks up that Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, or McLaren, which is a very interesting landscape to navigate. So make sure that you reach out to your dealer and understand their stance on mods. Another really important thing is to make sure that whatever modifications you're choosing reputable brands. This is such an important thing. We've been around for 5 years now. When you buy a Valvetronic Designs product, you know the craftsmanship, the quality is going to be top notch because that is our commitment to you. And when a dealer's perspective is looking at modifications, if you have some no-name exhaust on your brand new car, it's gonna raise some flags. But if you have a Valvetronic exhaust that's backed by a warranty and it has its own set of criteria, the dealer is gonna be much more inclined to work with you and not have a problem with a modification like that because it comes from a reputable brand. That's really important. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for taking your time to listen to this video and also understand the real world information about what happens with your warranty. You bought this vehicle because it is that special vehicle for you, and you've come to us to make it sound incredible. If you have any additional questions about these concerns, always feel free to reach out to our team here at Valvetronic online via our live chat or shoot us a phone call if you like. We are here to serve you, and we're gonna continue to make sure that all these awesome vehicles behind me and all the other ones around the world sound fantastic, and we keep up the engagement. Thanks so much, guys.